Welcome to the English Clarity Cast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the English Clarity Cast, the show where we help you become a more confident, fluent English speaker with practical strategies that actually work. I'm Emma.
And I'm James. And in today's episode, we talk about one of the most common problems that English learners face, translating in your head.
If you've ever tried to speak English but found yourself mentally translating from your native language, you're not alone. It's frustrating, it slows you down, and worst of all, it makes your speech sound unnatural.
Today, we're going to explain why this happens, and most importantly, how to train your brain to think in English step by step. By the end of this episode, you'll have a full toolkit you can start using right away.
Let's begin with some context. Why do learners translate in their heads in the first place?
It's a natural step in language learning. In the early stages, your brain relies on what it already knows, your first language, to interpret and produce new language. So, when you want to say something, your brain goes, okay, I know how to say this in my language. Let me translate it.
Exactly. But that process takes time. And often, the sentence structure, grammar, or idioms don't match in English, which leads to awkward or incorrect sentences.
Think about how often word-for-word translation fails. In English, we say make a decision, but in other languages, it might be take or do a decision. Translating every word just doesn't work in fluent conversation.
Right. And the result? You hesitate. You lose confidence. You get stuck mid-sentence. So the goal is to retrain your brain to process English directly, without the need to convert every thought.
Let's talk about exactly how to do that.
Our first expert strategy is to stop relying on translations and instead connect English words directly to concepts and images.
When you hear cat, don't think of the translation in your language. Think of the image, a furry animal, maybe a house cat sleeping on a couch. That connection should happen automatically.
Here's a practical exercise. The next time you're learning vocabulary, skip the dictionary in your native language. Use a picture dictionary or apps that use visuals. The goal is to train your brain to associate the idea with the English word.
You can even go a step further, describe what you see in English. For example, this is a big black cat. It's sleeping under the chair. You're thinking in English and visualizing the scene.
The more you do this, the faster your brain builds English pathways. It's like switching mental gears from translation to immersion.
The second strategy is all about output. You have to use English daily, especially speaking it, even if you're just talking to yourself.
Many learners think, I'll speak when I'm ready. But the truth is, you get ready by speaking. Fluency is a skill, and like any skill, it needs practice.
Here's a powerful routine. Talk to yourself throughout your day. Narrate your actions. Say, I'm brushing my teeth. I need to charge my phone. I'm going to the store to buy milk.
Don't worry about perfect grammar. Focus on building flow. You're training your brain to produce English sentences without hesitation.
You can also keep a daily voice journal. Record yourself speaking for 2 to 3 minutes about your day, your plans, or your opinions. Then listen back and notice where you pause or translate.
It's uncomfortable at first, but over time, your thinking becomes more automatic. You'll start forming sentences directly in English, and that's the key.
Now let's talk about one of the most effective techniques for sounding natural and stopping translation: shadowing.
Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say at the same time with the same speed and rhythm.
Yes, this method helps your brain internalize patterns of English, sentence structure, tone, linking, pronunciation, without needing to build each sentence from scratch.
Start with a short audio clip, maybe a podcast like this one or a YouTube video with subtitles. Listen to one sentence, then play it again and repeat it exactly as you hear it.
You're not just learning what was said, you're learning how it was said. The goal is to build that muscle memory.
One advanced tip: once you've shadowed a sentence a few times, try to say it again without looking or listening. If you can do that, it means you've fully internalized the structure.
Over time, your mouth and brain start working together. You'll naturally start speaking English with more rhythm and less thinking.
Let's go deeper into this final strategy: reducing native language input. It sounds simple, but it actually changes how your brain is wired to process English.
Yes, your brain is like a muscle. If you spend most of your day watching content, reading news, or texting in your native language, you're giving that muscle all the workout.
That's why we recommend a mini English immersion challenge. Pick a part of your day, maybe your morning routine, where you do everything in English. Listen to a podcast, read a short article, or watch a 5-minute YouTube lesson. Even write your to-do list in English.
You'll notice that your brain begins to expect English. It stops defaulting to your native language. You don't have to move to an English-speaking country. You can create that environment at home.
And if you're on social media, follow English-speaking accounts, influencers, comedians, bloggers. Even scrolling becomes a learning tool.
Now, before we wrap up, we want to touch on one thing that holds a lot of learners back: the fear of making mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. Many people stay stuck translating because they want to say it perfectly. But real fluency doesn't come from perfection. It comes from trying, even when it's messy.
In fact, the people who improve fastest are the ones who allow themselves to speak imperfectly. They say, "I might get it wrong, but I'll say it anyway." And that confidence grows over time.
So if you catch yourself thinking, I need to translate this so it's correct, then stop. Just say what you can. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be practiced.
Mistakes are not signs of failure. They're proof that you're learning.
Here's something important to understand. Your brain won't magically switch to thinking in English overnight. It's a habit you build every single day.
It's just like going to the gym. One intense workout won't get you in shape, but consistent training, even 10 minutes a day, transforms your ability to think and speak in English.
So start small. Choose just one strategy from today's episode and do it for a week. Maybe it's narrating your morning. Maybe it's shadowing a podcast for 5 minutes.
Then add another, and another. Over time, your brain stops translating, not because you forced it to, but because you trained it to speak English directly.
Let's recap everything we covered today. We talked about why translating in your head slows you down, how to think in images, not native words, the power of daily speaking habits, shadowing to absorb natural structure, reducing native language input, embracing mistakes, and building English brain habits one day at a time.
If you commit to these ideas, even just a few minutes each day, you'll be amazed at how quickly your fluency improves. And you'll finally feel confident speaking without that constant mental translation.
Thanks for listening to the English Clarity Cast. If you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share it with a friend who's learning English too.
Keep practicing, be kind to yourself, and remember, fluency isn't a gift, it's a skill, and you're building it every single day. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next episode, take care and keep listening.